everyone, it's Bobby with Remax North San Antonio. Thanks for visiting Realty Wise. This episode is going to feature Douglas Watson with the Healy Murphy Center. Douglas?
It's great that you came to learn about Healy Murphy. We're happy that you're here and learning about our history and also the services that we provide, especially to the youth all over the city of San Antonio, not just in this particular area. So it's great that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. Can you tell me a little bit of the history about the Healy Murphy Center?
Sure. We began in 1888 and we were founded by a woman by the name of Margaret Mary Healy Murphy. She was a woman who was originally from Ireland, came to the United States, settled in Corpus Christi. Her husband was the mayor of Corpus Christi. He died, and she found herself a widow of some means and had an overriding ambition that she really wanted to help other people. Came to San Antonio, went to church one Sunday, St. Mary's downtown. Heard a talk about the education of African Americans, came out of a church, and there was a child on the steps of the church, an African American child, who tugged on her skirt, and she knew at that moment that that's what she wanted to dedicate her life to. And so in 1888, her calling, exactly. So in 1888, she founded a church, and as you drove up, you saw the church, and it was called St. Peter Claver Church, Catholic Church. It was the first Catholic church for African Americans in the state of Texas. And then she also founded a school for African Americans called St. Peter Claver Academy. It was the first free school for African Americans in the state of Texas. She had a very difficult time in the beginning. The neighbors were against her. The city was against her. The mayor was against her. And so she had a very difficult time keeping teachers involved in her school. So 3 years after she founded the school, then she also founded a group of religious nuns called the Sisters of the Holy Spirit and Mary Immaculate. And it's the first and only order of nuns ever founded in San Antonio. The sisters that came before them all came from another place, but this order was actually founded in the room that we're sitting in right now. This was their first mother house. Local, exactly. And it was called the Sisters of the Holy Spirit and Mary Immaculate. And so St. Peter Claver Academy went up into the late 1960s, but because of integration in the public schools, there was no longer a need for a private Catholic school for African Americans. And so enrollment was dying. And so the sisters did not want this building to become a dying inner city institution, as many cities have buildings where the purpose is no longer there, then the buildings just sit and deteriorate. And so the sisters looked out into the community in the late 60s and they said, what are the reasons today that young people have dropped out or in danger of dropping out? So in 1970, they reorganized us. So we're no longer a Catholic school. They reorganized us into a 501c3, the Healy Murphy Center, dedicated to work with opportunity youth, at-risk youth who had dropped out or in danger of dropping out of traditional education. When they looked out into the 60s, what they saw were young women because of pregnancy or parenting issues, students because of family problems, socioeconomic problems had dropped out or in danger of dropping out. So they reorganized and we became the first alternative school chartered and accredited in the state of Texas. And so there's a lot of firsts that happened here. We're also our own historic district. We are the Healy Murphy Historic District.
That is very unique, and I'm sure the only one in Texas.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Most
exactly.
likely.
Exactly.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about how you yourself got started here at Healy Murphy?
Okay, so I have a background in counseling, and the executive director, the previous executive director, I'm the first non-nun to be the executive director of Healy since 1888.
Wow.
And so the previous executive director, Sister Veronica Cahill, her and I had known each other. She was in need of a counselor to come, and that's my background. And so she asked me to come, and as we recount the story of each other, she thought I was coming and staying. My thing was I was only coming for a couple of months. She had asked me to come to learn the ropes so that I could teach some new counselors that she was going to hire.
Okay.
That was 24 years ago. So I spent my first year as the counselor in the high school, and then the next year I became the executive director, and I've been the executive director ever since
that point.
Okay.
So you talked a little bit about your background in counseling. So what made you transition into doing this specifically at this institution? Well,
here I fell in love with the mission to work with young people who had either dropped out or in danger of dropping out, who they have a hard road ahead of them, and I'm edified every day that they get up and come to school, considering many of the situations that they encounter, the challenges that they face in their life. I don't think I would have ever been able to do it. And so that impressed me and wanted me to stay here and to work.
So you found that to be your calling.
To be my calling, correct.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we did definitely talk about the purpose of the Healy Murphy Center, and you mentioned that you target those at-risk youth. So that explains who you serve. What do you see as kind of that common reason that the clients you do serve, the students, that they seek you out?
Okay, so one of the main reasons that we were founded and we continue today is young women because of pregnancy or parenting issues. It's Texas, we're one of the top 5 for teen pregnancy and parenting issues.
Okay.
It's the number one reason that young women drop out of high school. And then we have 2 lives to worry about. We have the teen mom, and we also have the baby. So if mom doesn't finish high school, that already sets into motion kind of the child maybe not being successful also. Yeah, it struggles. And so, to be successful, our parents have to, to finish and help us to finish and to work at that. And so that's one of the reasons that we're sought out. And we have a large child development center. We just built a brand new child development center, opened in 2020 through a lot of community partners that gave us the financial ways and means of being able to build it. We were able to raise $5.8 million in 7 months.
Oh, wow.
So we opened right when the pandemic hit. We were open one day. We had to close the next day, but then we opened 3 weeks later, and we've been open ever since.
Okay, wonderful.
That was those 3 weeks that they're trying to figure out what to do.
I think a lot of schools were in that position.
Right, and then also with childcare, we then opened for the children of essential workers. They needed childcare for those people that didn't need to go to work.
Okay, so you do provide services for others other than just the people.
Correct. Oh yeah, yes. So we always try to make room for our teen parents. But we have a lot of community people that use our child development center also.
Okay,
So,
I was not aware if it was open to the public.
and then we also have young men and women who have encountered bullying in other schools. They've dropped out. Students because of sexual orientation have been bullied in classes. Students who need counseling. We have a licensed professional counselor on staff. Students who, because of family problems and socioeconomic problems, they become the main breadwinners in their families. And so we also have a high school equivalency program. Besides a high school diploma program, which we're fully accredited for that, we also have a high school equivalency, which before we'd always call it the GED, but it's a high school equivalency. So we also have that program also.
Okay, well, that's a wonderful option. So it sounds like you're certainly presented with some challenges here. How do you keep the staff or the employees motivated in what could be somewhat a challenging situation?
We have a very low turnover rate, so and I'm not sure that is attributed to me, but I think people that come here fall in love with the mission. They find young people are very receptive. And many times it's like a second chance for them.
Right.
And so they really see young people who are really striving very hard to complete their high school education and or get their high school equivalency diploma. And they just kind of fall in love with the mission. And also in our child development center, most child development centers, they have a hard time keeping staff.
High turnover.
We have a very low turnover rate. We have at least 10 people that have been here for 20 years or more in our child development center. Because they realize that they see teens who are parents already, they realize what they're going through, and the workers fall in love with the mission, and they know they're helping other people.
Absolutely. What a purpose.
Yeah, most of us don't want a profession or a job just for a paycheck. We want it to touch our hearts. And I think that's what motivates the people that work here. Not only is it a way for them to make a living, but it's also the mission touches their heart, and they find fulfillment in what they're doing.
Absolutely. Because people unhappy in a job, even if you give them a pay raise, if they're unhappy, they will leave.
Exactly.
But when they feel fulfilled, they will stay.
Correct. Even though the pay that we pay them is probably not where they could get other pay, higher pay somewhere else, but they fall in love with the mission because it touches their heart.
Right. You can't put a price tag on
we
happiness.
all want to be associated with something good.
I agree.
And something that helps other people.
I agree. I think we all need to feel like what we're doing is important.
Before the pandemic, we had lots of volunteers. And many people who had full-time jobs, but they would find a way to come to, so that their heart would be touched by working with the young people that come to Healy Murphy. And we have great success stories.
I bet they're happy, feel good stories.
The young woman that brought us the poster, Monica, she works in our finance office. She was a teen mom, came here, graduated, came back, worked here. Now she's in college. She has 4 children, married with 4 children, owns a home, and now has gone back to school and works in our finance office.
Very good.
We have 5 of our graduates that work in our Child Development Center that went on, and hopefully our assistant director, who's a graduate of Healy Murphy, will become the director of our Child Development Center someday.
Well, those are excellent success stories.
Exactly.
So my actually next question was what was going to be the highlight of your job, but I think you just told me what the highlight of your job is to see all those success stories.
Exactly, and they come back all the time. Many times, there's not a week that, well, during the pandemic, everything changed, but students have started coming back. They want us to share in their joys and their happiness and their successes, and so we see former students all the time who this is like family for them.
Sure. I mean, you obviously touch their lives, or they wouldn't want to come back and share those things with you.
Exactly, and so we see them all the time coming back to just let us know what's going on in their lives, and what Healy Murphy has meant to them and how we have helped them so that they could be successful. So.
Well, that is an amazing story. I just wanted to touch on the fact that where you're located, kind of down here in the downtown San Antonio area, and wanted to ask you what your favorite place or favorite location in this community is.
Healy Murphy, obviously. Healy Murphy, obviously. We pretty much, we're a closed campus, so we don't leave the campus when the students are here, so we're always on the campus. In the summers, when students aren't with us, once a week, the staff that works during the summers, we like to go out for lunch, and so we like going up and down Broadway. There's lots of new things happening on Broadway. The Pearl, we don't go there that much, but so those kind of areas we like to explore, like restaurants,
sure,
and areas like that.
The great things that are typical of downtown.
I also like downtown.
Yeah, I myself live in the downtown area, and I love it down here. So outside of work, which you're very passionate about, as a person, what interests you, or what are your hobbies?
I like to travel. I like to travel and learn about different cultures. I like to explore different areas of the world. That's kind of been, curtailed in the last couple of years. So I've traveled in Europe. I've traveled in South America. So I love traveling. I like to read. I like to cook. I haven't cooked that much. I like to do all those I like to spend time with friends. Mm-hmm. A good glass of wine, sitting with friends and chatting.
Absolutely.
and catching up on life. So yeah, things like that.
Okay, well, kindred spirits. I like to travel as well, and I definitely like to try all the different foods in places I travel. To me, that's one of the greatest things about traveling.
Exactly.
Okay, can you tell us how to reach you if somebody wants more information about your community here at Healy Murphy? Okay,
so our website is www.healymurphy.org, and so they can go on there, and most of the information is on there. We have a Facebook page. I'm not on Facebook, but we have a Facebook page. So it's www.facebook, or Healy Murphy, I guess, is the way you get on Facebook.
Okay.
Our phone number is 210-223-2944. We always have a live person answering the phone.
Okay.
During work hours.
That's nice.
Right. It's not one of those where you have to hit 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Actually, our phones are out today. There's a problem here in this area with one of our local phone companies.
I'm sure they'll get it fixed.
Yeah, hopefully they get it fixed soon. Because lots of parents, especially in the Child Development Center, lots of parents like to call and check on their children during the day. Mm-hmm. But now our teachers in our Child Development Center, the children in their classroom, the parents all have their cell phone numbers. So it's not as if there's not a way to,
right. So if there's an emergency,
to call. They can get a hold of us that way.
Okay.
So.
If you would, show us a little bit about what you have here.
Sure. So this is the poster that was developed by one of our former graduates, Gina Canales. She graduated, I think it was 2003. And this is, obviously Healy Murphy. We do not use this as a church anymore, but we use it it's called Holy Spirit Hall. We rent it out. We also use it for assemblies. We use it for testing. So it's primarily for the use of Healy Murphy, but it's rented most Friday and Saturday nights.
For the community.
For the community, for weddings, quinceañeras, birthday parties, what do you call it? Bridal showers, and all kinds of things. So this is the event. It's food trucks. We have 5 food trucks that come, and the ticket is $100, and then then you can eat as much as you want, and then there's wine and beer. And it shows that we're on the east side of the downtown. Here's 281, here's the downtown. And kind of that Healy Murphy brings hope to those who come through its doors. So yeah, it's a beautiful. So the artist is also, we have a silent auction for this, and she also is going to do a watercolor print that we're going to have in the silent auction, because many people really do like the poster. So anybody that comes will get a poster.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
it's a great evening, and all the proceeds benefit Healy Murphy.
Okay. And that the Food for the Soul is April 21st from 6 to 9 p.m. here at the Healy Murphy Center. Please come out and help them raise money for such a wonderful cause.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, this is Bobby with Remax North San Antonio. Please reach out to me if I can help you with anything in the downtown area.